A new dawn, a new day. One of the first places in Australia to be touched by the sun's rays is the Tweed Valley on the far north coast of New South Wales. It's a special place in so many ways, spiritually, culturally and environmentally. And stunningly beautiful. But it wasn't always so. As the continent was moving north, separating from the supercontinent Gondwana, there was violent, dramatic volcanic activity. This is what created the Tweed Valley as we know it today. Some 23 million years ago, the continent passed over a geological hotspot, which burst through the Earth's crust in 3 volatile periods over 3 million years. Lava and ash were laid down up to 100 kilometres from Lismore in the south to Tamborine Mountain in the north. The vent through which the lava erupted created a dome-shaped mountain more than 2 kilometres high. As the magma chamber emptied, the earth surrounding the vent collapsed under its own weight, leaving a saucer-shaped depression called a caldera, now regarded as possibly the largest and best preserved example in the world. Over the past 20 million years, the Tweed caldera has undergone dramatic transformation. The mountain created by the volcanic eruption not only changed the landscape, it changed the climate. It attracted heavy rain. Trickles of water became rivulets, streams, and eventually rivers. The combination of uplifting and erosion created spectacular waterfalls that plummet up to 100 metres. And the heavy rainfall supported the growth of thick rainforests. The rainforests now support some of the most ancient types of vegetation in Australia, including a treasure trove of more than 200 rare and endangered plant species. Ferns whose ancestors date back 300 to 400 million years. Hoop pine, one of the most ancient and primitive of the world's conifers, were common here 2 million years ago. In Springbrook National Park on the Queensland side of the border, the roots of this Antarctic beach have been spawning shoots from the base of the original trunk over the past 2,000 years. The adjacent Lamington National Park is home to almost 2,500 recorded species of plants and animals. Birds, insects, reptiles, fish, mammals, and amphibious creatures such as the Lamington spiny crane. Its colours range from this spectacular bright blue to deep red. The Tweed caldera is part of Gondwana Rainforests of Australia, a chain of some 40 national parks and reserves in northeastern New South Wales and southeast Queensland, protected by state, national and world heritage listings. The United Nations inscribed it because it represents outstanding examples of major stages of the Earth's revolutionary history, ongoing geological and biological processes, and exceptional biological diversity. Nature has taken a heavy toll, carving out the landscape we see today. 20,000 years ago, the continent was engulfed in an ice age that lasted 5,000 years. Sea levels fell some 100 metres, lakes dried up, forests disappeared, deserts expanded, and many animals became extinct. Anthropologists believe that up to 60% of the Aboriginal people who had arrived here some 30,000 years earlier may have perished. Ulumban, The 2-kilometre high mountain created by the eruption is now only half its original height. But it's still the dominant feature in the Tweed Valley. When Lieutenant James Cook passed by in 1770, he named it Mount Warning, a landmark for mariners warning them of treacherous offshore reefs. He also named Point Danger for the same reason. But to the First Nations people, the Bundjalung, who have inhabited the area for at least 10,000, possibly 20,000 years, it was called Wollumben, Cloudcatcher, or Warrior Chief of the Mountains. The New South Wales government has now formally reverted to using its original name in recognition of the deep and strongly held spiritual and cultural significance to the First Nation people. Surrounded by a ring of plateaus and ranges, Lamington and Springbrook plateaus, the McPherson, Tweed and Nightcap ranges, Wollumben is part of the Great Escarpment, a 3,500 kilometre long uplifting of tectonic plates along the coast. When colonial surveyor John Oxley came across the Tweed River in 1823, fellow explorer John Uniacke breathlessly reported, "The scenery here exceeded anything I had previously seen in Australia, extending for miles along a deep, rich valley clothed with magnificent trees." While in the background, Mount Warning reared its barren and singularly shaped peak, forming a striking contrast with the richness of the immediate country. When the first European settlers followed in the 1840s, they came for red gold, the rich red cedar forests. From the 1860s, selectors, mainly Scots and Irish, experimented with a great variety of crops including tobacco, poppies for opium, tropical fruits and arrowroot. Most failed, although at the Philadelphia Centennial Exhibition in 1876, Tweed Valley arrowroot won first prize. What has survived in the fertile volcanic soils of the Cudgeon Plateau and the alluvial soils of the coastal floodplains is sugarcane and cattle farming. But today it's tourism, which is the big money spinner, with almost 10% of the Tweed Shire's economy now coming directly or indirectly from the tourism industry. Capitalising on the rich natural and cultural history within touching distance of the Gold Coast and bordered by some of the world's best beaches, this ancient landscape is being promoted by Tourism Australia as one of 16 Australian national landscapes, branding it Australia's Green Cauldron. As the continent continues to move inexorably north at the rate of 7 centimetres a year, the landscape of the Tweed Caldera will also continue its slow evolutionary change. And to think, it all began with a big bang.